back to the Elk Lodge podcast. How's your headphone?
Oh, dandy.
Yeah, mine's good too. Hey, wow, mine's great too. Yeah, awesome. What's happening?
Just here.
How are you? How have you
Enjoying
been since we last talked 2 minutes ago?
Still doing good.
We were talking about fruit.
Yeah, we're jumping in.
Jumping into the fruit. We were talking about fruit, and you said nectarine's a little unappreciated.
Underrated.
Like, it's well rated, but it's under acknowledged.
Yeah.
Because the peach,
Gets all the glory.
that girl's a peach.
Yeah. The whole peachy state of Georgia.
Right, Georgia peach.
Citrus gets its own state. Right? Florida? Isn't that
Yeah, I guess so.
you know? But
But
like,
really-
who did the branding? Who did the branding for Nectarines? Because they did not do her justice.
Is it the name? Nectarine? It's kind of like peach. She's a peach. You wouldn't say
Nectarine.
she's a nectarine.
It doesn't quite roll off the tongue as easy.
You know, she's...
I'll give you that.
I mean, it gets more like tangerine. It gets more love than the tangerine.
You think?
I would think so.
I'm not sure I agree.
If someone had to write down their favorite fruits, I think nectarine's more likely gonna be on more lists.
Yeah,
don't
I think
think so?
people forget it. Kids are basic. Kids are always like, a banana.
Well, you got apple, banana,
bananas.
orange.
They like grapes, strawberries, blueberries, which are great. I mean, who doesn't love those things? But
Sure.
I'm just a sucker for those little stone pit. What are they called? Pit
Stone
fruits?
fruit.
Stone fruit?
Isn't it stone fruit?
Pit fruit? Stone fruit. Yeah.
I think it's stone fruit. I
Yeah.
think you're a stone fruit. Just kidding.
Maybe that's why I love them so.
Perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why is a nectarine called a nectarine? Who named
Oh,
it nectarine?
I don't know. Are you going into ChatGPT within 1 minute of our podcast? That might be a new record.
checking our facts. Even though the problem is, who's fact checking the fact checker? Like I'm sure every now and then we're getting wrong information, just like a Google search or any sort of research. Sometimes you're going to get wrong information.
Sure.
Who named the nectarine? I got to keep the phone away from the microphone. But yeah, the nectarine, a smooth-skinned variety of the peach. Whoa.
Well, that complicates this
We're not
little
even,
narrative.
it's not even its own fruit. It's a peach variety?
Oh.
Could this be so?
Shoot.
A smooth-skinned variety of the peach does not have a single well-documented individual who named it. The word nectarine is derived from the word nectar. Hey, no shit. Which refers to the sweet drink of the gods in Greek mythology. The nectar of the gods. The term nectarine has been used in English since at least the early 17th century, with one of the first recorded mentions appearing in a horticulture context in 1616. Okay, nobody cares. Unlike peaches, nectarines are not a different species, but rather a genetic variation of the peach, likely arising from a natural mutation.
Wow. I love the mutation. I love the smoothness.
They're a cousin of the peach.
So I'm just going to make peach pies, but moving forward, use nectarines and see who notices.
There is a difference in taste. I think I could do a taste test of.
I just prefer it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, a great peach is still fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Of course, a peach cobbler.
But I think nectarines, they steal it from me. They steal the show.
But you think you could do a side by side? You'd be able to tell what's the peach, what's the nectarine, just by taste.
I think so. I mean, yeah.
Something more tart about a nectarine?
There's a little
maybe?
tartness to it.
What about an orange and a blood orange? I don't think I can taste a blood orange.
I bet I could.
Does it taste more metallic or something?
This could be our next one. We once did that pepper test, and I was like, "Can you taste the different colors?" And I was like, oh, "Of course." And I think I got 3 for 3, and I think you got
0.
0. So maybe you can't tell the difference
Maybe not.
between a tangerine or a blood orange and a regular orange.
Okay.
But like, what's the regular orange?
Soon we should do
Caracara?
a...
Or just the navel?
Oh,
Navel orange?
what is a regular orange? I don't know.
Yeah. Who decides what's the regular orange? I don't know.
Unknown. But yeah, maybe soon we should do a peach nectarine.
Navel?
I think navel.
Navel oranges.
Like the Navy.
I love the Caracara.
What's that?
There's like just like a different variety, but they're really sweet and delicious.
I thought I knew every fruit. I thought it was simple. And then we were in Argentina and Maya was like, what's that one fruit? Like a quince. And I was like, that must be a Spanish word for like, I don't know. I don't know what word you're trying to say. She's like, no, quince it's the English word. We call it something else. It's a quince. And I was like, look, I'm 30 years old. I think I know all the fruits. Okay. It turns out there's a quince. True. There's a fruit called a quince.
I know, it's a great thing. I learned that lesson once when I was 8 and we went to Jamaica, and there was like a fruit vendor at the resort slanging all this special fruit, not slanging, offering it. And I was like, what are all these things? There were like star fruits or something that kind of looked like a kiwi that I'd never had before, and just different things. But it was pretty cool.
So much fruit. Mm-hmm. Fucking A. Like, are there that many vegetables we don't know about?
Yeah, probably.
Do I just not know all the fruits and vegetables? I thought like this was a lob. I thought I knew them all.
You don't. I can rest assured you do not.
It's tough out there.
I don't either. I bet there's a lot that would stump me.
No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say, what's like a fruit nobody knows about? But how are you going to tell me something? No, I don't know.
Well, even when I was in Germany with you, there were some like berries and stuff that I had seen, but like didn't know. I mean, I've never seen them in a grocery store in the U.S., but they were like, looked like they were pretty common in markets and stuff.
My mom buys gooseberries.
Yeah, I think gooseberries were a lot like prevalent over there. I'm like,
they're really tart,
gotten gooseberries,
but delicious and fun to say. Gooseberry.
Yeah, it's funny. JC, when he was here, he was like, I need to get kiwis. I can't find kiwis in Sayulita. So, it's just kind of depends on where you are in the world, I guess. What you learn to eat, what you have access to. And
I think he's the first person who I ever saw like eat the skin of the kiwi.
I've heard you can do that. And I always hear that like, oh yeah, that's where all the actual nutrients are. You hear that about potatoes and stuff. And right. I eat potato skins. I don't pick around it. Like I'm always like, oh yeah, I should do that. But I can't get on board with this fuzzy ass kiwi skin.
Like biting a tarantula.
Now I'm definitely never doing it ever again. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. And then, yeah, I think I mentioned my meditative cutting up of the kiwi.
It feels good to see a kiwi peeled.
It does. I really love to peel it and then slice it, and it's just like so beautiful when you hold it up to the light. It's gorgeous. They all are really so decadent, supple.
Yes.
So, speaking of things that should be eating fruit that are not, we just started watching. Well, we watched 3 out of 4 of the Chimp Crazy docu-series on HBO.
It'd be crazy, yo.
That is fucking nuts.
If you haven't watched it, spoiler alert. We've seen 3 episodes of the 4, so we're going to spoil something.
Highly opinionated, of course. They're not eating fruits and veggies. They're eating like Happy Meals. It's kind of crazy.
The amount of delusion we're witnessing is pretty intense.
Next level. And I don't know. It's very sad and heartbreaking for the chimps. But it's also like I cannot stop watching for the humans involved in this process. Like train wreck that is the main protagonist.
Yeah, why can't we look away from like some... Because like also like this is rude, but she's kind of gross. And there's times where we're like watching her like get lip injections and shit. And I'm like, actually, I'm grossed out. Like we were eating, watching it. And I was like, this is tough to watch while I'm eating.
I think it's the context though. Because I think if she was doing something else, we would be more forgiving.
I don't think so. If she was like, I'm just going to take my son to a soccer game, like I'd be like, ugh, God, lady.
I mean, there's a lot going wrong with her appearance. If we're going to be blunt.
Like, I mean, I think it's maybe all part of the same
It's very
sickness.
Distracting.
If we can just sit here and judge the shit out of this woman from afar. This poor woman.
She's been through a lot, but it's like all brought on by herself, So how much empathy can you really have? Like, there's a legal system. She kind of operates in a way that she thinks she's exempt from it. And
yeah, but it's more the fashion police need to be called,
Seriously.
Like she's breaking the law and she's like being cruel to these animals unbeknownst. Yeah. I do believe her. She thinks she's doing the right thing. Giving them even McDonald's. She's like, they love McDonald's. So like I'm the nice guy. But not realizing like you shouldn't.
She sees no fault, but yeah, it is definitely sort of bordering on this like munch Munchausen's like
Yeah.
need to be a caretaker more than they really ought to be cared for.
Sure, the need to be needed.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're completely dependent on her because of the dynamic that she set in place, but she definitely needs them emotionally.
Yeah.
In a big way. Yeah. How about the quotes where she's just like, I'm more connected. I love them more than my children.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you're really going to go on record to say this in like a documentary that will be released to the public, knowing that your children are alive and well.
And the kid watched it. The kid, she said it on the news, you know, so like it went out that night.
It's just so rough. Like, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's real rough.
Real rough.
Real rough.
And it feels like, you know, there's still a 4th episode, but it feels like someone's fucking a chimp. You know, like there's always it always online. Feels like someone's one sentence away from being like, and I fuck him. I fuck the chimp. He fucks me, and I suck his little dick.
There's a lot
and I play
of
with his
tongue
butt.
action with the monkeys through the gates, and I've seen a lot of comments about that online and videos on TikTok about that, and like that it doesn't seem natural. I mean, I do think animals play with their tongues, stick their tongues out,
sure,
whatever. I'm sure it's not like that abnormal, but you know, could definitely be one of those things where you're like, in hindsight, him constantly sticking his tongue through the cages and going up and down and around, like it definitely is a little suggestive. It could be something really horrible.
I wonder if we'll get
not.
We'll get it in the 4th episode.
I really hope it doesn't come to that.
So yeah, fascinated about that. We're also watching Game of Thrones, me for the first time.
Yes.
So the other day it was like, you want to watch the imp or the chimp? But yeah, I'm liking it.
Good.
I'm liking it. I understand why people.
There.
I remember when it came out live. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, where the fuck have we been? But I remember people at a certain point were like, "Oh, what?" Which like that last episode of the first season, where like she walks into the fire and now she's got these baby dragons. Like the show in that episode took a leap from being like pretty grounded and like there's myths of fantasy to being like it's a fantasy show. There's witches who can cast spells. There are dragons. This Khaleesi girl can't burn. She's not susceptible to fire. You know, like we've sort of taken this leap. I remember people voicing like that they were upset, and I get it. I might have been too. I knew this was coming. I knew the dragons were coming. I knew, you know, so like, but I probably would have had that reaction too. Been like, this show was so cool. It was all about like the politics of like, and putting people in a situation where, talking with my hands, putting people in a situation where they have a really tough decision to make. Like,
but that doesn't change with the introduction of the additional.
It's true.
Sci-fi nature. Like it does stay true to that, I think, throughout.
Yeah.
And obviously the dragons are young, but they won't always be little.
No, I know.
Just like these chimpanzees. You know, their strength is growing and yeah, I don't know. I see what you mean. It's definitely like a kind of, I mean, they were hinting at it though. I think they were hinting at it the whole time and it just, they do a good job of kind of getting you used to how it is in the first season before introducing some of those more
maybe that was smart.
Grand ideas, grand elements.
Yeah. Maybe in the end that was smart. And now it's cool because again, I'm just in season 2, but there's these baby dragons and like everyone else is like on the other side of the world fighting. But we all know like once these dragons grow up, it's a whole different ball game. And like all those people fighting over there, that ain't going to mean shit once these 3 dragons grow up.
I just also appreciate about Game of Thrones truly how like dense the plot is and how I think a lot more than most shows, like you shouldn't get attached to characters because there's just so much turmoil at all times. And so there's kind of that wheel of fortune is just always spinning and people that are up high are always coming down. And, you know, I think it's a very successful format that they figured out in that way. Like you're just always like the rug is always pulled out from under you, I think.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Like killing Ned Stark, because as the show begins, Ned Stark in a lot of ways feels like the main protagonist.
Yeah, and I think his family line is certainly
Yeah.
front and center in season 1 for sure.
So, you're like, they're not going to kill him.
How could they kill him?
How is he going to get out of this?
Yeah.
And then even when the chop happens, it's like the end of an episode, but you don't know for a fact. And like when that really aired, people had a whole week to talk about it. And I'm sure people said, like, do you think he's really dead? Do you think they actually chopped his head off? I don't know. Like, we didn't see his head get removed. Then they tune in next Sunday or whatever, and it starts with that sword dripping in blood. And it's like, holy fuck, they actually chopped his head off. Did you watch it live on TV?
No, I didn't.
So you never had that.
I caught like a couple of, I think I caught like the last 2 seasons live, maybe more. But I didn't get on until like a couple seasons in, so I caught up.
What's fun is that we watched the series finale together. And that was the first night we kissed, and that was the beginning of our whole little
first
thing
smooch. I know, it's very special to us.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I always know the date that aired. You remember that? Remember that?
May 19th?
May 19th, 2019. That was the season finale of Game of Thrones.
Fantastic.
So I kind of know, I know at least some people aren't going to die because I watched that last episode.
I don't even remember who's in the last episode.
Well,
this is why my brain is funny. I'm so easily entertained with television, and it just is like in one ear, out the next. Like I cannot remember. I couldn't tell you.
In one ear, out the next. I think it's in one ear, out the other.
That would make sense.
There's been some good Steena-isms from the chimp lady. She's like, I could pretty much tell you verbatim what they said, which is verbatim. Gosh, and there was one more like really funny one.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. In one ear, out the other.
I do know what you mean. I'm just being an asshole.
I just, it doesn't retain. Like I remember, it's all coming back to me, but.
But that's weird, like, because you read my script, my movie script, and you had great notes. I guess mostly though it's about like character is where you...
Well, you would think it would, I don't know. With text, like it does help to see and read things. Like I think if I read the Game of Thrones, I'd be a lot better
It's
off.
true. Okay.
But with that being said, like I've read Harry Potter, and I'm not like, I know some people who could just regurgitate everything that happens in Harry Potter, and to me it's sort of just like, I remember the feelings of reading Harry Potter. I remember the energy. Like I remember big moments, but like the key, like little minutia, I think. Yeah, it doesn't stay long.
But what if someone said, like, tell me just kind of the arc of it? Do you remember how it ends? The whole story and like the truth? Because I was really impressed by it all.
How does it end?
Spoiler alert. This episode might just be called Spoiler Alert.
It ends happily.
Great. Happily ever after. No, it was really good.
Refresh my memory. What do I remember? Honest to God. Well, Dumbledore dies at the end of the second to last book.
Yes.
That was devastating. I didn't like that.
Who killed him?
Voldemort, not Voldemort, Snape.
Yeah. Dumbledore dies. Snape killed him.
Hated that. That was when I was like, what is happening? Was pretty crushed. But
that was Snape's way of, like, he had to kill Dumbledore to prove himself to Voldemort, even though he was actually a spy. He was against Voldemort the whole time. And so the whole thing is like Voldemort, the boy who lived, right? Voldemort tried to kill Harry Potter as a baby, couldn't do it. What's so
lightning bolt?
Something
Yes.
magical about this child?
Sure.
He might be the greatest wizard of all time. He was not able to be killed by Voldemort. Then he goes to school and there's the Snape guy. Snape fucking hates him. Is Snape even a good guy? Oh, Snape's actually a bad guy. Whoa, Snape killed Dumbledore. Wait, Snape's a good guy? And what it was the whole time, Snape, pretty sure, Snape is the one who actually really saved Harry. Because Snape had a crush on Harry's mom. And so Snape the whole time was like protecting Harry Potter. shit, maybe I don't know it that well either.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like they start to jumble up pretty good.
There are some nerds really freaking out right now.
know.
Yeah, I forget exactly what it was, but it was something that I remember being like, wow, that's actually like, I'm surprised, and the story came full circle, and that was really nice, the way that story was ended.
It seems like I'm ready to reread them.
But Game of Thrones, everyone complains about the last season because that's when they got ahead of the books. Like,
Yeah, words.
the books hadn't
Diverge.
gotten that far, so they were like, well, let's just make TV.
Let me ask you this. Do you prefer to watch a show live each week, feel the drop, or do you like this style where you can binge watch as much as you want whenever you want?
Far prefer this style.
There you
Watch as much as you want when you want. There's something fun. Something was probably fun about going to work on Monday and you're like, you think they really killed Ned Stark? Like, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's
That
definitely
was
like
probably the excitement.
you're in on the water cooler talk.
You're part
you
of
get the gifts popping up.
Yeah, the global phenomenon
Sure.
of it. You get to participate in it. I'm now like, late just watching it as a TV show. I don't get to be a part of like the cultural phenomenon. What was I part of the cultural phenomenon for? Like when Squid Games came out, although they dropped the whole thing, but it was like, fuck, everyone's talking about Squid Games. You get to kind of be a part of it, but they just dropped it, right? It wasn't like week by week. What's a show week by week nowadays that's like really...
I mean, we were watching like Curb Your Enthusiasm was still coming out that way, or probably most recently that.
But no, overall, give me the whole thing. Let me watch it on my own time. It's not going to make me watch it less. I think someone must assume or have data that shows that you build momentum this way. Shogun was like that. We were waiting for new episodes of Shogun. And while you're waiting for the new episode, you're talking to people and you're like, you got to watch Shogun. And then you kind of get people hooked in more. But I'm pretty sure Squid Games was dropped complete. And that was the biggest show when it came out. It was huge.
Yeah, it seems to me that like if a show is truly successful and going to take over pop culture, it'll do it either way.
Yeah, and you don't risk people like falling off, like between episodes 3 and 4, some Squid Games might come out and nobody cares anymore about your show.
I wonder what the motivation is for networks to do that. What the data says.
There must be
about
something
viewership.
that says there's a benefit.
Yeah,
I would think,
interesting.
unless they're just holding on to the past, being like, this is how it's always been done. Did this chimp thing get dropped 4 episodes, or did it like do one at a time?
I'm not sure. We're late to the game, so I don't know if they're just all out now or dropped in a 4-part. My guess is it probably dropped as a 4-part docuseries.
Yeah. It sucks, though, that you can't just own a chimp and have it be awesome. Because as a kid...
You can for a few years.
For a few years. But the chimp's going to get attached. It's going to get older, and you're going to say, bye. And the chimp, it's an emotionally intelligent animal.
Scenarios.
Or it bites your face off.
Or it bites your fucking face off.
But it's an emotionally intelligent animal, and you're going to say, bye. Mm-hmm. So there's no good way to do it. To own the chimp. Either you keep it and it ends up biting someone's face off, or you get rid of it and it's fucking dead. They haven't even mentioned, I watched a documentary once called The Mim Project, which was about a chimpanzee, I think the name was Mim. And someone wanted to do a study of like, what if you raised a chimp as a human? How does it behave? And they would treat it just like all the other kids. It was treated like a human. And I think it would like smoke cigarettes and wear pants and whatever. But then it got to a point where it got dangerous because it's in its strength and its aggression that comes up.
Those teeth, those canines are rough. They're like 2 inches long.
Yeah, so scary. And they're so fucking strong.
Yeah.
They're just fucking...
Powerhouse.
So they had to just like go put it in some sanctuary somewhere. And then this chimp is sitting there like, I thought I was a fucking human. And now I'm in a cage with all these monkeys. Like, I'm too human for the monkey kids, and I'm too monkey for the human kids.
It's a problem.
It's crazy.
It's almost like we should let wild animals stay in the wild.
Yes. But what do you do today? Because there are...
Right.
It's too late, right? There's chimps in captivity. Sure. Do you just don't breed them?
I mean,
let
perhaps
this be the last
there's
generation in
animal
captivity?
rescues that can actually like at a minimum you're required to have outdoor spaces. Some of the cages and things we saw are in basements and things like
Right.
the idea that you're not going to see natural sunlight or be able to be outside seems absolutely barbaric to me. So, you know, maybe they're just in a rehab somewhere with only other animals that have been that way. Because, you know, if they have not learned to fight and battle with each other on the yard and they just like are really gentle and docile, maybe they could just be around other docile like chimps like them. I don't know.
Yeah, because I guess the argument would be like it's for the species. It's an endangered species. We're keeping the species alive over here in this
I'm not sure it's worth
sanctuary.
it, though.
But and are you ever going to get those chimps back into the wild?
No, of course not. I don't think anyone's even pretending that that's what they're doing.
Right. So you're keeping the species alive, but in captivity perpetually.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. But yeah, I would think stop breeding captive animals.
Yeah, it's interesting to me what motivates people to have that. Like, is that really just the ultimate flex and status symbol in their mind? Like,
owning a monkey?
Or any of like the exotic pets, like these tigers and all the things that people keep. Like, is it just the amount of attention that it gets them? Like, it seems to me maybe worthwhile trying to figure out why humans continue to buy and want these animals. Because maybe then you can address like the underlying unmet emotional needs that are leading these people to the black market to buy these animals.
But we've been talking about maybe getting a dog. What is the emotional need we need for a dog? And dogs are perpetually in captivity. I mean, Rue, bless her, and I'm not talking about this dog specifically, all dogs, like they're taken from their parents and they're prisoners in our homes. We walk them around on leashes. They're not free.
It is an interesting case for dogs because they've kind of been like domesticated alongside humans for a long time. And I think, unfortunately, they have learned to kind of serve humans. And there is sort of a weird codependency that's come out of that. You know, they do like to have jobs and like deliver results. You know, dogs seem to get joy out of being people's companions. But also a dog, you know, goes outside every day, presumably.
Yeah.
You know, sees the sun, smells the air. They're not like in a basement cage, never going outside. I mean, I think some people do board their dogs longer than they should and all that. And surely there's terrible dog owners, but.
Well, what about horses? We live out on the range here now.
Yeah.
Some of our neighbors have
you're
horses.
Super against this.
And I see this, you know, there's sometimes people ride the horses. The rest of the time, the horses, it's just stand here in this cage all day and we'll come ride you once a day. The rest of the time, it'd be like owning a dog, walking it once a day, but all the rest of the time it just has to live in a cage. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that's cool.
I know. Yeah, I don't know enough about horse behavior. Like, how much do they just stand around a meadow grazing anyways? Like, are they really running all day, frolicking through the fields? Probably not. Do they probably do that a certain amount of their day? Yeah. So
if you see wild horses, they're not just standing there all day.
No, they're running, they're sit grazing around and graze and stuff, though. They're not like they're constantly running, getting the wind in their hair, you know, like you might imagine. Like I imagine they lay down and take naps in the field just like they would in, you know, but.
Do they have room to lay down in these stables?
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
Well, not where I'm looking.
I think they do.
Maybe they do. But, I mean, and horses and dogs have been domesticated for thousands of years. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's like too late.
They're kind of weird little asterisks. It's hard for me to spit that out.
Yeah, like, is it just too late? Because I was thinking, like, doesn't someone in like Wyoming own like 100,000 acres and we can just put every horse there and be fucking free, run around?
No,
live your life.
You can't, because then that changes massively the ecosystem of Wyoming, and then all of a sudden the rivers are full of too much horse poop, and then the salmon can't swim upstream and nest, and like
right, it's a whole
you
fucking
can't
thing.
Just massively change a natural biome like that without unintended consequences.
So we can't go backwards.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Yeah, so it's just too late for horses and dogs. I mean, there are still wolves and coyotes wild. We have those here too, coyotes.
Yeah, we should get our friend Katie on here to talk about this because she did a lot of research about this. I think, was it Wyoming or Montana? I forget. But essentially they were having like a massive wild horse problem, and that those horses got introduced to an environment that couldn't not necessarily sustain them. And
right,
so
so
there
they
were
would
all
die
these
in the
wild
wild.
horses that were dying in the wild.
Right.
And so then there was this big push to get them, rescued and into people's homes and have people care for them. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what the answer is. Like, do you really work? I guess my preference would be to really somehow support them in their natural environment. But on the other hand, I would prefer that somebody's feeding them apples and carrots and hay and all the things and looking out for them.
The thing that's weird with me about horses, different than dogs, is it's like I'll rescue this horse and I'll treat it like a car. Like I'll park it, I'll drive it around, it'll go where I want it to go. Like it's a vehicle. It's
Think about
weird.
it like
this is a
this,
living
though.
thing.
When you perform a task, you feel good.
Correct.
When a horse performs a task, it probably feels good.
Yeah, but
Same with a dog. When a dog goes and fetches you the toy that you asked them to retrieve, they feel good bringing it back to you. That's, I think, part of the story.
it's part of the story. But I don't think that logic fully tracks, Like, I'm sure there were times where a slave was like stoked that like they got praise from their owner and was like, yeah, fuck, I did.
Doesn't
I
mean they wouldn't want to
cleaned the
not be
shit
a
out of
slave.
that cotton. It doesn't mean it's okay to own this person and treat them like a slave just because there's like a reward system built in that has like, tinkered with their psychology and their own inner reward system. Like this monkey or the chimp that's in the cage, like that chimp probably, if you tested the chimp's mind or something, like loves this woman and loves doing tricks for her and is happy to please her. But it's a chimp living like in a closet in a basement somewhere. Like it's not okay. The chimp probably thinks it is okay. The chimp has no idea. I think it's like subconsciously probably depressed, but this chimp is excited to see this woman every day, loves the McDonald's. They'd be like, you guys are fucking dicks. Like, you're trying to take away my McDonald's? Like, why are you abusing me?
Or something on Instagram this week I saw about like foxes are wanting to get domesticated and they keep like showing up at people's houses and asking for food, and like the internet's joking that they're tired of taking care of themselves and like ready to just call it.
Well, that's how.
But like when you think about it, it's probably getting harder and harder to be a fox because their environment keeps getting encroached on. There's less resources. They're getting hit by cars. Like it's hard times as a fox in the wild. They're like, why not be like a dog? I don't have to sit out in the rain when it's cold. You're gonna feed me freaking hot dogs and hamburgers, and I'm sure their brains are just as delighted by the artificial addictive things they put in that as humans are,
Can't beat them, join them.
That's right.
Well, they think that's how we got wolves, or that's the assumption. Because wolves and humans have coexisted for like thousands and thousands of years. And it's a symbiotic relationship. Like we were cooking food. So like we'll throw some to the wolf. The wolf protects us, can warn us of predators, can help us catch the food. Like we work together to eat the food and then we share. And so it was like a kind of docile wolf would come in and get some food shared, and you kind of kill or not include the aggressive wolves, and the submissive wolves would be welcomed in, and then you breed and eventually it's a docile pug. You get a pug. Yeah, or a roo, who's just totally docile, no threat to us at all. But a wild wolf in here would be kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, dogs do, and I mean, they are still a threat. There's still some wild in dogs.
True.
There's still dogs that snap at people.
Sure, but I bet those early years, like 10,000
Happened a
years
lot
ago,
more.
it was like, oh, fuck, that
Oh,
wolf
sure.
killed John. Damn.
But yeah, I mean,
That one's out.
I definitely know personally dogs that have bit kids' faces and,
Yeah, it's true.
you know, done some serious damage. Like, God, even my mom's bulldog gave her stitches once just by like, she was going down for a kiss and he lifted his big old dome up and she split her lip right open. Like, you know, they are still strong and, you know, somewhat wild.
But is there something like some people love dogs? I want dogs around me. I just like, is there something unhealthy in there? Just like we're watching this Munchausen lady, like I need to take care of these animals or these little monkeys or these chimps. Like I need to be needed. Like, and I need to feel this love from this chimp. We're watching that. We're being like, this lady's fucking sick. But how many people do you
I'm
know,
sick.
including ourselves, who feel this way towards dogs?
Mm-hmm.
Is it fucking weird?
It's a little weird.
Pet ownership, like someone owning a dog,
I'll give you
walking
that.
around
It's a
with it
little
on a
weird.
leash.
But I mean, I've been so happy having Rue here.
Same. I love it. And I love dogs.
And it's hard to explain, but it is, you know, exciting to me. It makes me laugh that she can't help but follow me around the house. Like I can't go to the bathroom without her coming in. She just wants eyes on me all the time. And I don't know, it does. It makes me feel special and loved. And then I feel glad that I'm helping her feel safe and comfortable while her people are off doing their thing, and you know that she feels good in our care. Like that makes me happy. And when she starts being all spunky and getting her toys and playing, I'm like, oh, she really feels good here. Like she's not stressed out. You know, it is an outlet for care and love, and kind of easily reciprocated. You know, she's so excited when I come back in the door after just taking the trash outside. Like it
Yeah.
is
You get
a
to
very,
feel the love.
yeah, it's a good,
But it's also like,
but it is a little selfish.
it's weird.
potentially.
And I'm not just talking about this dog. This is every dog that anybody owns. Like it's a captive animal taken most often, not with its mother, and not free to leave whenever they want, you know, like,
I always get sad. What breaks my heart is when there's like, because I'm sure there's trauma with being separated from your mom and your siblings. Like obviously no way around it. We just can't vocalize it or understand what they think about it. But as animals and dogs get older and they have like, you know, this dog they've bonded with so much, like I hate separating them once they're old. Like I just want dogs to get adopted together. Like, oh, you fell in love at the shelter. Like they are each other's security blanket. Like that to me breaks my heart. I'm like,
Yeah.
those dogs need to stay together. Like they shouldn't get adopted if they can't go to a house where they can both be there.
but often I'm sure they're being separated. Most people are just like, nah, I want to buy that one. I want to own that animal. It's weird. Something about it's weird. I want a dog. Like I love dogs. I would love to own a dog and have a dog here in this house. And I love having this dog here. But something about it is
You've
fucking
always
weird
been
to
this
me.
way. You were like, we're not taking our kids to the zoo.
I'm against zoos, and I'm still against zoos.
Like,
Nothing's
but
good
you
about a
really
zoo.
think that our kids, we're never going to take our kids to the zoo? You really think that they're never going to want to do that?
They might want to. You're gonna have to sneak them away. I don't want to go to the zoo.
Yeah, it's not something you do necessarily.
I don't want to
for you.
support zoos. This is supporting animal exploitation, and like it's not cool. I'm morally against zoos
So interestingly enough, I think
and aquariums and all this shit.
a lot of times those kind of skate by under this idea of like, oh, they're raising money, they're raising awareness, which helps preserve environments and, you know, protects these species, whatever. Like we're doing research to figure out how to better care for them, blah, blah, blah. I think there is some benefits to the things that zoos claim that they do well. But in this show, I thought it was interesting because they were talking about that the zoos were selling baby chimps as like an additional source of revenue to like keep lights on and stuff. So I would like to go to a place where the funding is a little less sketchy than that. Like, I don't think you should be, if your whole point is to like spread awareness, whatever, take care of these animals that you love, then you shouldn't be just passing them off for a buck and to Lord knows what conditions, you know, like you can control the environment at the zoo, but you have no idea what you're sending those animals to.
Perhaps. But even the zoo, make a fucking TV show. Planet Earth. I learned more about Planet Earth than I ever learned at a zoo. And an animal in a zoo, it's not a happy animal.
But either is an orangutan in a field of palm oil trees that's on fire and it has nowhere to go. Neither are the animals that just got scorched in Brazil's Amazon rain, like the forest fires there. There's all sorts of animals that just got cooked right up.
Sure, and most animals die in the mouth of another animal. That's most death. Most humans die just like goodbye. Every other thing dies like, ah! You know, like that's how you die. But still, I'd rather they're doing that than like dying of old age in a zoo.
Were you kept in a cage as a kid?
Sometimes. No. No, I wasn't against it as a kid. At a certain point.
I just wonder why it's so deeply.
I watched
it really
Blackfish.
offends you.
I watched Blackfish. Maybe this is when it started. I don't know. No, I was against it before that. But like Blackfish, right? It's like, it's so bad to keep whales because it's fucking sad. And they're not happy and and it's like torture. How is it any different keeping a tiger in like a concrete enclosure in the middle of Brooklyn where, I mean, think about this animal's experience, just like screaming children everywhere, like just constant stimulation. Like these animals are probably a fucking wreck inside. Sure, they get to just die of old age, but like I could protect you and you can live to 90. I'll guarantee it. I'm going to keep you in this cage forever.
I'm getting to 100, boo.
Fine. But like we could guarantee someone's safety pretty much, short of like cancer and stuff, if we don't let them live their fucking life, you know? Like living your fucking life is risky. Sure, maybe you're going to burn down. Maybe something's going to eat you alive. Probably that'll happen. But you get to live a full fucking life and you get to be out there hunting for shit. Like this tiger isn't getting to tiger.
I hear you.
The tiger's probably saying, I want to do tiger shit.
He's just like Ty. He's not really like the grr.
No grr.
No, all Ty, no grr.
All Ty, no grr. And I feel that way about bears,
I know. But let me ask you, you really don't have a problem killing things? Because for me, if I see even the animals that I hate the most in this world, my least favorite animal of all time, spider. Mm-hmm.
Killed another big one last night.
Huge. I mean, a foul creature. Like, I'm talking, it's like this big. It's absolutely terrifying. But I couldn't kill it. I don't kill them. I trap them. I will take hours of my time to trap them with every hair on my body standing up the entire time. I'm uncomfortable. I'm miserable. I have so much work to do to make myself physically respond to the commands that my brain is issuing. Mm-hmm. But I won't kill them. You just swat them. I got no problem. You do it with your hands. You just swat them. I would get a boot or something. Like you just
I get a boot sometimes. The big one I did not get with my hand.
No, you did that with a flip-flop.
That was a flipper-flopper.
I would have done like a boot on the end of a broom. Like I wouldn't have gotten anywhere close to that thing.
Yeah, to me, that's nature. Like this is the real world, sucker. And like if I was on your web, if the roles were reversed, this is how the world works. This is nature. And I guess, sure, maybe you could say it's natural. Like the way humans behave, how could you say it's unnatural? This is our natural behavior. We put animals in zoos. We look at them. We're fascinated. We study them.
Yeah, we conquer
them. You could
them.
call it, that's our nature. So I don't know. But to me, the way the world of nature works, animals kill animals. I don't like try to run over a squirrel or like whatever. But in my house, if I see a spider, I'll kill that fucker.
It's like a crab
Scorpion,
spider.
I'd probably kill as well.
I also hate crabs and the way they move, like spiders. Ugh.
And then like I eat meat and I don't like factory farming, but I do participate in it. I eat chicken and meat and steak. So I'm a huge hypocrite.
Yeah, I'd say so.
100%.
Do better.
I should. I would like to hunt. It'd be great to like kill a deer or an elk once a year, and like that's my meat for the year.
No,
Great.
and
That would
then
be
obviously
sick.
our buddy Randy was hooking you up with fresh caught fish for a while. That felt great. And
That felt better. And
Yeah.
we don't eat that much meat in this
no,
house
we don't
either, but
usually
still,
eat vegetarian with me.
I'm a hypocrite. But doesn't change the fact I don't like zoos. I don't like buying tickets and saying, "Oh, look at the fucking prisoner."
You know what
Wow,
else is
cute.
weird? Is like most of those animals, like think about the incredible biodiversity on this planet. Most of the animals in the zoo are popular. They're the ones we like. They're panda bears. They're cute. They're fluffy. They're like, I mean, not always, people still want to see alligators and things that aren't necessarily cuddly. But the point is they're the animals that we've grown to like and have an interest in versus the just multitudes of animals that are less cute, less popular, less known about. And I know organizations are always struggling to like raise awareness about,
Nectarines.
about nectarines, conserving their environment and like protecting them because they're just not those hot button, like hot ticket animals, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
I don't know, man. I don't like it. There's a zoo in San Diego that I've gone
Wild
to.
animal.
I don't know. It's like
Or
it's
the
pretty open.
Yeah.
They're not like such enclosed cages.
The wild animal park.
It's better, but I still don't like you just hear screaming children all day long. Like, what does that do to an animal?
Same
And they're
thing it
in-
does to its parents. Drives them fucking crazy.
Exactly. It's torture.
Yeah.
It's a form of torture, and I don't like participating in it.
I get it.
But when my family was like, "Let's go to the zoo. We'll take the kids to the zoo," I went. I wasn't just like, "Hey, kid, that's a fucking sad." I was like, I'm not gonna just drag my feet. I'll come.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have fun. But you ask me how I feel about it. Don't like it. Don't like it. And I'll be damned if I bring my child to the zoo. Now watch, it's like cut to 10 years, and I'm like, "Whoa, look at the fucking little thing! Wow, oh, it's crying. Isn't that cute?"
We'll see. We'll see.
Watch Planet Earth.
Yeah, beautiful.
Like, we can show our kids animals without showing them prisoners.
I agree, but I think there's a tactile part of the zoo that is really real and tangible. The smells, the sounds, the things. I think it does land a little differently, but I hear you.
But you're learning less about that. It's like that's not a real tiger. That's a prisoner tiger in the fucking city. Like, you want to see what a real tiger's life is like? Watch Planet Earth or a show where they follow tigers around.
This is how I know I'm sick, because I like get a lot of joy when the wild animals break out of jail of zoos.
I'm rooting for
And
them.
I'm like, oh my God, there's a Bengal. Like, there was a Bengal in India, I think, that was in captivity and got out. I'm not positive about that. It might have just been wild. But it was like known to eat or attack hundreds of people.
I think I heard about this.
And
yeah.
I found out about her story because I found these leggings of a Bengal tiger attacking humans. And I was like, I need those.
Wow.
I don't know why I thought they were so cool, but
You
I
wear
don't know.
those and someone's like, "My mother was killed by that tiger." Like, you piece of
That's
shit.
how I know I'm sick.
It's like
I'm
having
like,
like a 9/11
Get 'em!
socks.
I mean, I don't really want him, but I just love it's kind of cool, this idea of like taking your wild back and getting back out there. And yeah, I'm with you. It's not my favorite thing. The zoos, the captivity, it's not the best. I told you about the little fish tank in Bed-Stuy that popped up in New York because there's this
Yeah.
fire hydrant that's been leaking into the little, I don't know what you would
Puddle
call that.
filling a thing.
Yeah, like the little next to the sidewalk, whatever, the little breezeway, walkway, whatever. It's been filling up this little area. And people have been putting little fish in there and built like a whole tank with colorful toys and all this stuff. And I'm like, part of me is like, that's so cool. I want to go see it. And then I'm like, winter's coming. What will you do?
They're all gonna die.
I know. I hope not. I'm sure somebody's going to relocate those fish, right?
I don't know. But yeah, I don't like fish in fish tanks.
Obviously.
My roommates used to have a fish in the fish tank in the kitchen. And they were like, "Oh, it's so cute. Like, why do you hate it?" I was like, "I don't hate it. You hate it. Like, you're fucking just like, oh, like torturing this fucking thing. Like, I would kill it to put it out of its misery. Like, that to me is the nicest thing I could do for this fish.
Don't worry. They have an attention span like me. They don't even remember that they're stuck.
But they know they're stuck every moment. They're stuck. It was like, anyway, I just don't like it. I don't like it. And, but I'm a hypocrite and I do other things that's wrong. And that's just kind of how the world is too, you know?
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't that it? Well, thanks for watching, everybody. And we will see you next week.
This episode's sponsored by PETA.
Yeah. It'd be sick to get Alan Cummings on it. I like Alan Cummings a lot in this documentary.
Yep.
I've always liked him ever since Spy Kids, but he's great.
He is.
Real
he
charmer.
Seems very genuine and yeah.
Sweet old
It's
man.
not to love.
What's
Good
not to
Scottish
love?
accent.
Alan Cummings.
He
You know, if you're ever in
actually is
Tucson,
Scottish.
ye are welcome.
You are welcome.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Ta-ta.
Thank you.